This conference will now be recorded.
So yesterday we have seen with connecting with like not connecting with so yesterday we have seen what I mean to say, just how to just connect to with the server, right? So we are transferring the, so we have created registration and we are just enter some user information and that went to the servlet. So for that we have used web.xml as well as so login.html. So this is the HTML where what we do, we will be uh, giving the user ID, password, and all this information. After that, we have a web.xml. In this web.xml, this is the one where it is helpful for the what I mean to say, translation the data from from your HTML to servlet. So that's what your web.xml is to do. And why we have a welcome content, so whenever we have a welcome content, it is going to check for the login.html. So whenever you start your servlet, what happens, it is going to come to your container is going to come to your web.xml itself first, and it is going to see, okay, I have whether I have a html, it is going to search for a welcome file. So in the welcome file, whatever it finds, it is going to see it in the web app. So you should be placing this under web app itself. If you are trying to change that location, you need to specify. So by default, the location should be of any HTML pages you do, it should be under web app. If you are trying to place that this HTML under web by NF or somewhere, what happens, your container cannot find this HTML. So what happens, it finds this HTML and it will, like, you, this HTML will be converted into a browser language, right? You can see the text box, user entering the text boxes. So on click on the submit button, this action gets called, and this action will be checked in your web.xml. It goes to the web.xml and it's check, okay, for this particular action, okay, I have a servlet name called ABC. So this ABC will be checked in naming, and for that it will have a name called login servlet. So this is how it goes to the login servlet. So this is how your web.xml establishes the relationship between your HTML and servlet. So I was little fast because it was just yesterday's concepts. I was just recapping it. Making sense. So now we do what we do, we connect this to a database. From here we'll just connect to a database. So for that I will just create a database class like a DAO. Generally when you do an application, it will be a controller service layer. From service you go to a DAO. So I'm skipping that service part, and generally I'm creating a directly a DAO class. So DO is the one, like I can say this is the one where it will interact with the database. Like you will use JDBC here to interact with the database, and you will be saving the data, fetching the data for everything. You will be using this layer. Data access object, DAO. It's like a naming convention. They are giving it as a DAO, where I'll write the code to interact with the database. So here, why you need a JDBC? Because whenever you have a database, what your database will understand? Your database will understand only the SQL, right? So structured query language. So that SQL cannot be under your Java. I cannot write that SQL code in your Java, right? So there should be some intermediate, or there should be some translator who translate this Java code to an SQL. So that is nothing but your JDBC do that stuff. Okay. Already I am having a database in my system. Okay, we'll see how to connect it. So first of all, to write your JDBC, you need to load the drivers. So I need to load which driver, Oracle driver I need to load it. So why I need to load the Oracle driver? Because here your JDBC is the one where which will, as I told you, it will translate into SQL, like structured query language. Whenever you want to get the data from your database or fetch it, it is going to do that. So whenever it is going to do that information, so you have lot of vendors, like for Oracle. Whenever you are connecting to Oracle database, you have an Oracle vendor. So for example, when you connect to iBatis or some database SQL server, so you will have their drivers. So for example, I am using Oracle database, like in my system currently I have an installed Oracle database. So that's the reason I need to use an Oracle driver. So you just also install that Oracle or any MySQL, then you need to use that particular driver to get that information. So I think you know what is a table and this basic stuff, as you told, like you know, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
you can go
So
ahead,
why you
Jatinder.
have a table? Sorry.
Jatinder wanted to say something. I interrupted, so.
no, I said
Okay.
like it's clear. The table and basic things is okay for me.
Okay, what is a column? So generally why you will have a table is nothing but whenever you want to store some huge number of data, like you'll be storing it in a table and you'll have a column stores, and for that and to fetch that you will be using a queries like SQL select star from you whenever you want to fetch it, whenever you want to update it, like insert something, you'll be using inserting. So all that stuff, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. 1 minute. So first of all, here from Java, if I want to write that, I need to load the driver. The first step is nothing but loading of my driver. So I'll do class dot first name. So your class is a predefined class in Java. So you have an object class. Similarly, you have a class also in your Java. Okay. So I can try that here. I have a method called something like insert data. I'll have a method insert data. So I will be passing the string. So what I need to do, I need to insert that user ID and password, or if you want, you can validate also. Okay, we'll do that. Validate data. Okay, we have a different methods. If we have insert, so we do validation also. Add throws declaration or try catch, because this will be throwing, this is nothing but your checked exception class, not I think what is checked exception, okay, exception was not covered, right? So here this writing a try catch is nothing but a mandatory here. Okay, so I have not covered as per of the syllabus, I have not covered this exception. Like you can, if you are interested, you can go through this. Dot Oracle driver. So if I write exception, that is a parent, it is going to hold even class cast exception also, whatever exception comes. So after loading, this is my first step. That is nothing but step 1. So after loading the driver, the step 2 is nothing but your getting the database connection. So to get the database connection, you need to use a class called driver manager, which will get your database connection. So I'll be using driver manager dot get connection. Okay, so here I will be passing 3 parameters. One is nothing but a URL. So URL is nothing but where your database is present. Like generally, whenever you do a normal application, it will be in your local system. So then you need to mention that database fully name, like with IP address and what is a port number and where it is present. So If not, then if it is in some other location, you need to be mentioning the IP address. If not, you'll be just mentioning that if it is in local, you just mention it as a local host and the port number and the name of the database, so that you call it as URL. And the next is nothing but username and password. So whenever you want to connect to a database, basically you make that authenticated, like no. So whenever you want that user, by using user ID and password only, you'll make things to be connected. So this is nothing but my URL. You see, this total is nothing but my URL. This is the first parameter I'm giving here. Okay. So next, what are the parameters I have? User ID and password. That user ID is XE capital and password is also XE capital. Okay. So which will return you the connection object. Okay, so here it is also throwing an exception, import connection object from java.sql. So if I mention it as a star from java.sql, everything gets come, right? Yeah. So no need of, so you know this one, star means it will get all the classes inside that package. Okay, so we have not used it. After loading this was second step is nothing but the second step is nothing but getting a connection object. So create or
Surya, can you
get.
explain that once again? I mean, whatever that is there in that get connection parameter is there, right? I understood
Yes,
that
yes.
XE and XE is your username and password. Localhost is your local
Okay.
machine, but I wanted to understand the rest of part also.
Okay, fine. So for example, you see, I have just mentioned URI will concern. This is nothing but at the rate localhost I'm mentioning. Why? Because my database at present local, I'm connecting it locally. If the database in generally when you do a real-time application, this will be not your local host. It will be in somewhere, like it will be in some other system. Then you will mention that system IP address. Here you can remove a local host and mention that also. Here 1521 is nothing but the port number of the your database.
Running
What?
database.
Yes, running database. So XC is nothing but even the name. So I have given, so generally you may get so username and the name of the database have given name actually. So whenever I'm creating, it can be some ABC or something also, right? So
That's
but
okay.
why I have given this name. So this thin and Oracle and this is nothing but the, so like you are connecting it to the, like you can say just like your how you say it, like fully qualified name. So I was using, this is the type of the database. So you're telling it like if you are using JDBC colon Oracle, if I'm trying to connect to other database like SQL server or what I mean to say some other SQL server, then it will not be Oracle. So we have a type. This is nothing but thin is nothing but type that you are connecting to a database.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. Thanks for explanation.
okay, this is nothing but your driver class. Oracle driver is nothing but, as I told you, this is a driver class, and this is a fully qualified name, like which is present in Oracle like a package under driver. You have Oracle driver. So I need to load this driver, then only I can able to use it. So next step is nothing but creating a statement object. So why I need to create a statement objects? Because statement objects is the one which will carry your SQL queries. So how I'll be creating that statement object is nothing but from the connection object. So there are different statements object, like you have prepared statement, create normal statement objects. So there is a difference from that. We'll see. Create statement. which will return me a statement object. So you have a different kinds of methods for different executions, like whenever you want to do execute like whenever you want to get the results from a database, you need to be using a method called execute query. So whenever you want to create a table, you'll be using a method called execute. Whenever you want to do an update or insert something to the database, you'll be using execute update. So execute query whenever you want to get it. So like you have TDL commands, like whenever for data you will have in an SQL. So for any data manipulations, you'll be using a execute update. For retrieval operations, you'll be using this execute query. For creation, you'll be using this execute method, and similarly, you'll have execute batch and all whenever you're trying to pass some huge amount of data and all that stuff. So here I'll be using the normal execute update. So when I use a execute update, I will be able to insert the data into a database. Okay, so what will be the insert statement I should be writing? Insert. This is a SQL statement. So I cannot write the statement directly in the Java, right? So for that only I'm using all these JDBC things. Insert into login. So I have not created login table, and I'll create a login table, and I'll just pass that values. So what are the values that I need to be inserted? I need to be inserting this user ID as well as your password. Am I right?
Yeah.
So generally what you do, you will, whenever in the real-time application, you will not pass all the parameters. You will create an objects. Like you will create a login object. That login object may have all of the details. Similarly, when you want to do an employee, we will see that also. Generally, will not pass individuals. We will pass that whole object whenever we want to insert. So we can use this thing, or we can use prepared statement. There are a lot of things you can able to use it. I'll be getting this user ID. Otherwise, So I'm passing that from the method, right? So I'm using the prepared statement. So you can able to use a create statement as well as the prepared statement also. Whenever there is a difference between them is nothing but whenever I use the before case in the create statement, what happens, I cannot able to pass that query parameters. I should be directly inserting it here. I can just pass a query parameters like this is nothing but I am passing two query parameters like two question marks because I want to insert two values, so that I'll be specifying here. So st dot, so I'll be specifying what is the data type and what is the column name and what is the type of data I will be inserting. So statement dot set it. So for example, user ID password, I'm just taking it as string else, right? So I'm just making a method called set a string. So here, if you see that set string will have two parameters. So one is nothing but the parameter index and the next is nothing but your string value. So what is my parameter index here? So which will be my first parameter index for that password, like user ID. So this is my first parameter index. Next, it will be your so if it is of int type, you will be setting a thing called set int. So second parameter is password. Here I'm taking that password. So after that, you will have a method called st.execute update. So which will return which will return me the how many records got inserted. So which will return the number of records got inserted. You can make that return type as also int here. So you can return that value. I think I need to declare that above. I'm just initializing it to 0 before. First of all, after executing, it will be more. So this is a simple statement that you will be using to connect to the database. So whenever you want to validate it, you will be get that information. To get it, you will be using a select star method to get that information. Okay, we'll see first this. Already we'll have a class called EMP. The table EMP does not exist, so we'll see whether the class called the table exists. Sorry, login exists. So select star from login. So you see, okay. Even login also not exists. So we'll create a table. So what is the syntax of creating a table? So create table. Table name is login, and I'll be specifying the values that I want to pass it. So here, like what I want user ID password to be in the string type only. So for that I will be specifying, okay, user ID. What is a string type here is nothing but your varchar. So in Oracle, whenever you want to specify string type, it will be your varchar. So I'm specifying the characters length of 10. And what one more thing is nothing but your password. Okay. So even this is also a string type varchar. And specifying the length of the password also 10. Table got created. So now you can describe the table. Describe got login. You see, so you have a user ID and password of 10 characters. Okay, both are strings. And if you trying to select something from this, select star from login, what you will be seeing, no rows selected because there is nothing, there is no records present in this. So we'll try to insert this from the application. Okay, so now from my servlet class I need to call this. Am I right? I have a login servlet. From this login servlet I need to call and I need to pass that user ID and password. So what I'll do, I'll create a login DAO object. DAO equals to new login DAO. So DAO dot which method, insert. So what I'll be passing that user ID and password. What I got from the user, I'll be passing this. So which will return what type? Int type. So if int number, I'm just returning. So if number greater than 0, what I'm just printing, system.out.println, sorry, should be having the statement above. Out.println records inserted. Record inserted. So again, say that number. like saying this number of records get inserted, else if it is not greater than 0, some issue happened, right? Then you can just specify no records inserted, something like that. Is that flow clear up to this? Okay, so we start an application and we'll see. So I'll just run it as a Java application. So run on server. Yesterday this error gone, right? Okay, I'm inserting the user ID called Raj, password called some 123. So okay, there was some exception. Why? Because I think I have not added Oracle jar. Okay, class not found exception, because whenever I I'm interacting with Oracle driver, so you are getting an Oracle driver, right? You are using Oracle driver, right? So you need to be adding the jar, that Oracle OJDBC 14 jar. So that's the reason you are getting this exception. So where I'll be adding that jar in lib folder. Any jars that you want, you can add it in the lib folder. So I think I cannot copy this from here. Okay, it is copied as text file. Okay, just go here to the project. So you're having OJDBC 14 jar, right? And copy this. It's coming as text file. It came under reference library. Fine. I'm entering the name called Mahesh and password some 123. Oh, invalid user ID password. Yeah, game it is correct only, right? XCXC. That's what I used to log in. In 1 minute, that should be correct only. Okay, X small e, sorry, I have entered capital E. It's a mistake. So it's a case sensitive. Sorry, silly mistakes. Table or view does not exist. Table or view does not exist. We are having a table, right? Committed the rotation.
Under which database this table is?
Under XC only, I guess, because I connected. Okay.
It might be again case sensitive, right? Can you check the exact name?
Okay.
There are 3 XEs in your code, right? 2 XEs is password and verb. What is the first XE?
This one.
Yeah,
This is a database name actually.
yeah. So that is what I was saying. If you can confirm the
Okay.
name of
Okay.
database?
Okay. You're telling I was connecting to the wrong database.
Yeah, it might happen.
Okay.
Just guess.
Yes. I'm just checking.
Your screen got stuck, I guess. Okay.
Now can you see?
Yeah.
Okay. I was under XE only. Okay.
That is capital E.
Yes. Okay. Actually, I copied from here, right? So I think I have not checked this icon at all. For database name, is it case sensitive? Okay, we see. Still the same. I think this small or capital it does not matter for a database name. I think the case sensitive will be there only for uh, your passwords and all these things, I guess. minute, let me.
Yeah, the port is 8080, right, for this right now.
Sorry.
Here the port is 8080.
Okay. Where you see that 8080 port?
In the website that you were in, right? Oracle website you were there, right? So if you see that, it was.
Okay.
Can you come back to that Oracle
Yes, yes, I'm
website?
coming.
And the
Okay.
URL, if you see 127.001.8080 in
That
address
is
bar, if you
different
see.
actually. No, no, no. I think that is different actually. That is like this thing which is running in this port number.
Okay.
But Oracle internally will have 8152 port number only.
Can you go to sessions? And I think I saw CXZ. See 136. It is inactive.
Sorry.
This XZ is inactive, right? XZ username.
Okay. Yes, yes. It is in inactive.
Okay, this is session details.
Like anonymous, his was active actually. Yes, you're right. I think we are not. My charging. Okay, I just solve this issue and let you know. Most probably.
Sure, Surya. Yeah, that's okay.
Uh, so mostly we'll have it like some more officially we'll end this classes today. Like if possible, we'll have it connected like some other time, and I'll just finish off these things. Like and even I'll clarify your doubts actually, whatever we have it. So most probably we'll have it the session for half an hour or something else, and we'll see that.
Okay, Surya,
Okay.
that works out for me. Second thing is you told that you'll be sharing all those documents, right? In
Yes,
WhatsApp.
yes, I do that. I do that. I thought of I'll do that. I'll just can you okay, you want me to put in a mail, right? So I'll do that. I'll put in a mail
No,
like
not
that.
in
What?
mail. You can give me in WhatsApp also. That's totally okay.
Yes, yes, I'll just do that. Okay.
And one last thing, if you have any documentation related to that class loader and all you told, right?